I've got a practice program open here right now. I'm just going to walk you through it pretty quickly. It's got about 5 years worth of data that you can go pick from to say, well, I want to go work on that day. Or you can say, hey, give me a random day, just, you figure it out and surprise me. So here I'm just going to go pick a random day, and I won't know what day it is, but it'll just show me some data. So I'm going to take this controller out of the way, which is what we're going to use later. The purpose of the controller is that you want to be able to move forward in the day and backwards and then learn from it. So here I've got some simple indicators turned on, and I'm just moving forward in the day rather quickly. This is not normal stock market speed, but that's the advantage of the practice program, is you can say, well, I want to see I'm just going to go to the end of the day here, how it turned out and whether I should have bought that thing or not. I'll put this guy away for now. So in this particular stock, it turned out to be a really good stock, and it went up. But this is where you would test your ideas or our rules on whether something is trending and the indicators are working. You have to know that it's working for you. It's no sense at all just to be emotionally driven and say, well, I feel or I hope. We don't want any of that. This needs to be somewhat mechanical. That way it can be repeatable. If you have amazing intuition and you have somebody whispering in your ear from the other side telling you, hey, you should buy this now and sell it now, that's fantastic. But most people don't have that. What they need is a system that they can follow, and just something that you do, and you do it again and again and again, and it works. That's what gives you confidence as a trader, is you say, well, I've tried it on this machine a lot of times, and this seems to work almost always. You won't find something that works every time unless you're more prudent in your choices of stocks and situations. But for most people, they will be right most of the time, and that's all you need to become more wealthy and have a great income on a regular basis, is just to be right most of the time. So here, I'm going to go look at a couple other stocks. So here's a few other stocks that we're just going to look at. This one did really well today. And so this is where you'd want to use indicators, rules, to say, well, I want to get in here and I want to get out there. And I'm just going to turn on one indicator that you saw in trending, and it looks like that, which is telling you that you probably want to get out right here if you were heading down. And you'd want to be getting in to go up around here, because it's a strong, solid line, which means it's got some slope, which means the price movement is good, and it's moving up quite nicely, and it was a good time. You could have rode that for quite a long time. In the morning, you can see you got skinny candles, low volume, and it's not such a great trade, but you could have made a bit of money there. There's other stocks that you could look at, and in the summary of the rules we talk about the basket, and you'll want to look at that. This is the basket. It's basically telling us that this was a trending day. You can see it right there, that the candles were moving up. All of them were moving up pretty nicely. Then it went sort of sideways, drifting down, and then the afternoon it picked up and went really strongly. I'll just put the time on the bottom so you can see what that looks like. So there it is, that's the time. So this was lunch in there, which is not usually a good time to trade. In the morning it had a run down and then a run up. You could have made some big money pretty quickly here. That's the kind of trading we look at. You can hang around for the afternoon, but in the morning, that's the big bang. And that's the kind of trading that we want to do. So let's go look at a couple more stocks, how they did that day. So here's Disney. It ran down hard and then it ran up and did really nicely. So what we need is some more indicators, perhaps, that will tell us some ideas of what we could have done and when we would have done it. So this signal color is meant to give us an alert that there's probably a good trend happening. Doesn't mean it is a good trend, but it looks like it's possible. And you can see here that this one turned out nicely. The line kept us in situation. And again, the alert came on and away it went. I showed you in another section about the K-band. This is what the K-band signal system looks like. So there's basically two signal colors, and you pick the one that you like best. They have similar but different rules. And you can see that the tint came around the candles, I'll turn that off for a moment. You can see what it looks like before and then after. So it really does help. But this one line by itself was almost enough. So we have another indicator that I recommend using, and this one's called the risk zone. So it's telling me, actually, I shouldn't have traded this thing at all in the afternoon. It's in this no man's land. That's what that background tint is. And that's because these moves were small, jumpy, jittery little moves. And when you look at it from that perspective, it's like, yeah, that's right. That was jumpy, jittery stuff, and I really shouldn't have been in there. So was there another trade that I should have picked using that indicator? Well, let's look at this one. Basically, it was a great move up in the morning that you could have rode and then climbed back inside, and then it was not a good thing to trade. And so was there a good trade this afternoon? Well, that was the first one we looked at. Remember that one? It was a good trade and it kept going and going and going, and you could have hung on to that. But of course here you can see the dashed lines. It's not a good time to trade. In that little dash where the blue part is, it's not a good trade. Was there a K-band signal that told you to get in? Actually, there wasn't in the dead zone. It's also lunchtime, which I told you is not a good time to trade. So here, you had some opportunities. The computer told you. Here it's telling you that's not really a trading time, and it wasn't. And here it's telling you this looks like it's a pretty good idea to go green, and it was. If you like the other signal system, you can see that it's telling you this is the start. Then it gets to a lighter color that's telling you, well, you might want to just keep your eye on that one and maybe get out. So that's pretty much it for indicators. Is there are some, you just get good at them, and you test it with the practice tool. If you recall from what to trade, which is the stocks that you should be trading and staying away from the ones that won't make you money and you can't have liquidity of the options, on this program here, you already have those stocks loaded for you. So it's the right things to trade. You just need to get good at the indicators, and you can see for yourself whether it's working or not. And you can do it blindly by stepping forward in time and let it play for you in real time as if the market was open. So you get to test your skills after you know what you like trading. You can prove it to yourself with a tool like that. One of the things it has is a little window that you can go test your buy and your sell and see how much money you would have made. So in this case, if I say that's your buy sell button, and I'm going to just go pick this stock here, and I don't know, I'll just go to the beginning of the day somewhere. So there's Visa. I'm going to go pick on that because it's got the right setup, which is breaking the risk zone. And I've got, do I have signal color? Yes, I do. So if it goes any lower than that, that's a good option to buy. So I'm going to move forward one candle and wait to see if it breaks it. Looks like it didn't. Looks like it's trying to, but it didn't. You see what following the rules does for you. So if I would have jumped in eagerly, I would have lost money, and I would have known here, and it would have cost me nothing to find out that I made a mistake. Whereas on this side, you can see that it went up and it broke and it kept going, and it would have made some money. So if we back up a bit, let's just see how much you would have made if you would have taken that signal right there. Let's go hit the buy a call button. So we're going to go forward, and you'll see right here, so you made 16%, came back a little, 15, 16, 17, 20, 23. This is a fairly good approximation of what you would make in the live market. And that's what the practice tool is good for, is you can go backwards and forwards, test your indicator, test your rules, test you. And that's the most important part, is are you following your rules? Do you know what the rules are? And if they're consistent with your rules, you'll know what you're going to make. So this thing will actually tell you, I'm going to hit sell. If you hit that button right there, it tells you on the Visa, you got in at 9:45, you got out at 9:55, and you made 19%. And that's what the practice tool does for you, is you can do this all day long, all night, anytime you want, and you get good at it before you spend a dime in the account. You don't need to open a brokerage account. You just practice, and then you get good at it. Then think about a brokerage account. And that's the way to be a successful trader, where you're not risking all kinds of money on a whim or an idea or half, planned thoughts about feelings and trading like that. You don't need to be an emotional trader. You don't need to guess. You just need to practice, 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 and this tool will help you do that.